Hey everyone, how you guys all doing? Hey new builder, hey Gov. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so for those of you who were here last stream, you'll know that I was getting started on this kind of sword enemy. So we're kind of working on like loads of melee attacks and other enemy designs. And I got the stomp ability working and I think it looks awesome. So it's kind of like some sort of ground pound and I really like the way it feels. I got the animation working really juicily as well with some just like sine curves and things like that. So I'm really happy with this. So that marks the second enemy who we finished, but we still have to work on the AI for this enemy. So that's gonna be the first thing we do. So to have a look at what we're planning to get done today, here is our plan. So yesterday we finished off the spider enemy on stream, and then we got started on this, what I'm calling a baron enemy for now. I may rename that later, we'll see. Oh, true. Let me switch scenes. Perfect, okay. That should all be fine now, right? Let me know how that looks. I need to update the timer as well, but I'll do that later. Okay, so we got the spider enemy working yesterday. You can see that these guys walking around on the outside, they kind of shoot stuff, hover, like wander around the player. I'm liking how they're feeling. And then we were working on this kind of melee sword attack guy. And what we finished off the stream yesterday was a ground pound, and I've got it working. And I'm really happy with how this looks. Let's put that full screen. I think this animation is awesome, and it feels really nice as well. So what we still need to do though, is get the enemy AI working for this. So that is gonna be the first thing we do today. Madlad says, hi Dawn, I'm just popping in to say hi, I'm going to study right now, and if I do it well, I should have some time afterwards to watch the streams. So bye. Oh, thanks for tuning in anyway. Hopefully we can catch you later. Okay, all looks good now. Perfect, perfect. So I don't know how long this stream will be. I have to go in about an hour and a half, but we should be able to get done a lot done now, and then maybe I'll stream tonight as well, like yesterday. Tonight's stream was really fun. For those of you who didn't catch it, we streamed for about 2 hours, which is the longest I've done it so far. And then we played some games to finish everything up, so that was really cool. Okay, let's get started with some enemy AI. So for the spider enemy, I was using this almost state machine-like system, and I'm just gonna copy most of that. That's my plan here. So let's start by creating, this will probably take a while since AI can be quite complicated, but I think we have time to put some love and care into this before getting started on the next enemy, which hopefully we can finish today. Fingers crossed. Okay, so we are going to need to copy most of this code. So can we do the split screen? Yeah, let's do it like this. And we're really going to try and copy the overall structure of this and then add in the nuance that we need for this different enemy. Okay, let's get started. So let's start by creating an enum. And so this will hold all the different states that we're going to have. And so we want actually pretty much the same ones, apart from let's just rename our dash to a stomp, because that's what it is. So don't forget to put a semicolon at the end, delete that. Oh, we don't need a semicolon actually. Okay, and let's copy all these timers. So the way we're doing this AI is every second we're checking the current state and the current surroundings of the player, and then we're updating our AI accordingly. So they're constantly like updating what they're doing. They're deciding whether not to chase or to flee, whether not to attack or to use one of their abilities. But there's also a level of delay that gives it a more natural feel, which I think works really well. Okay, we still have a ton of, oh yeah, that should not be there. Okay. Those are loads of error messages there. Okay, so we can copy all of those in. We can also copy this straight in, and actually, no, we can't copy that in just yet, since that's one of the main things we're gonna have to change, and that's the attack behavior. Since instead of using a gun this time, we have a melee weapon. So we're gonna have to focus on that. Okay, so player update is all working. That's all good. So let's actually, let's just move this code into its own function. I think that'd be nice. Void end stomp. Let's just put that all in there. Just clean up the code a tiny bit. We can also then have another function which you take out, and that's just called stomping, or stomp update, let's call it. So the reason we're doing this is so later on, when we add in the AI, we can just reuse all these functions again. Hey Pepe Kid. It's cool seeing so many familiar faces in chat. Okay, let's take this. Yeah, let's take all of that. Let's Control B. Let's make that full screen just so we can copy all of this over. So this is what's animating our player once they're in their ground pound state. And so we're just using a really simple sine wave, but it works really well, and I think it feels awesome. And so then in here, let's just call stomp update. So we're just doing this, just keep everything nice and organized, and also so we can reuse some of the code later on. Okay, perfect. Let's drag this back over and let's start copying the AI. So let's begin with the state choose behavior. So this is going to be the core part of the AI for this enemy. And so we can actually copy most of this and adapt it to this enemy straight away. So if the player isn't alive, just want them to stand still, that's all fine. Okay, so if they're stomping, then we can add in a special behavior. So we can copy that in from over here, the enemy script, and that should all be fine. Lovely. So let's make sure to keep our code nice and organized. Let's comment some of this. So if is stomping, let's just continue or end. Continue stomping or end our stomp. Okay, so now we have the state switching. So let's add in a variable that's going to hold this behavior state. Ah, water, great. Okay, let's add in, so we have the state variable now, and this is going to be updating our state, which state we should change to. So a lot of this code will stay the same. So we still want to chase, we still want to flee. Do we actually want this enemy to flee? Do we just remove that behavior entirely? I feel like yes, actually, yeah. We don't need the flee behavior. So this enemy is going to be far more aggressive than the spider enemies. And the reason I want that to be the case is going back to the brainstorming we were doing actually on one of the first days. So let me bring up my brainstorming thing. Yeah. So we want the player during combat to be asking loads of interesting questions. And these are going to be micro decisions. So this is heavily inspired by Doom's design, but we want the player to be constantly deciding which enemy they should prioritize, have they got enough resources, and where they should be moving around. All these micro decisions should be going through the player's head, and together they should make the game really interesting, in theory. So I feel like when it comes to top-down shooters and top-down or just action games in general, the quality of these micro decisions has such a big effect on whether or not the game is fun. So let's make sure we get these perfect. Before we do that though, let's actually update our time on screen, because let's see how long we have left in the jam. Okay, and I can't see the Brackeys jam at all here. There it is. Okay, 2 hours and about, 2 days, sorry, and about 18 hours left. We're coming near the deadline. I've got to start picking up the pace definitely now, since I've kind of been working quite slowly the last few days. And so now it's definitely time to start ramping that up and making sure we finish on time. I want to have a good 2 days for polish. So finishing the core gameplay today is very important. Let's close that. Okay. Let's back to coding we go. So let's get rid of all the flee. Everything that references fleeing. Okay. Distance target, chase beyond distance. Okay, and then, okay, we can add 2 decisions. So we can have wander and then we can also have attack. How should this work? So I'm thinking if the player's within a certain distance of the enemy, we attack. And then when they're outside of that, we kind of just wander around. That's the kind of the feel I'm getting for. Isn't target's grid chase distance? Okay, so let's get rid of most of this. Noob the Builder says, I wish I could have taken part to join the jam. I wish I had time. That sucks. Yeah. Fortunately, this jam ended up feeling or falling really well for me. I think there's generally 2 Brackeys jams a year though. So hopefully you can take part in the summer one, fingers crossed. If not, hey, you never know. Maybe I can host a jam at some point. That could be fun. I think if I hosted a jam though, I'd need to find some sort of way to make it like unique in a way, if you guys get what I mean. Like try and find some sort of way to innovate on the traditional jam format. Okay, so let's outline this. What is the best, how do we want this enemy to behave? So I want it to chase and then like swing and attack. Chase and attack. Chase and attack. So kind of repeat that. So possibly if we have it chase and attack, or we could have it switch between an aggressive phase and a more passive phase, that could work quite well actually. So we have a passive phase where we kind of wander around, yeah. And then an aggressive phase where we attack, chase, and stomp. And stomp, yeah. I think that would work quite good. The chat is slow. It could just be me responding slowly as I'm trying hard to focus on this as well and get this done as quickly as possible. Let me know if there's other issues though. Okay, I think that works well. I think that's a good strategy for approaching this. How should we implement it? We could actually just have the behavior states be only 2. We could just have a passive and an aggressive. That could actually work quite well. How about we try that? So let's say if we can change up some of the variables here. So if public flow aggressive within range, let's say that. So if it's our time to choose a state and our distance to target is less than or equal to our aggressive within range, we will become aggressive. Yes. So we will return behavior state dot aggressive. Else we will return dot passive. And let's also add a check-in, and our current state is if we're not already aggressive. So we'll kind of go in short bursts. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Actually, no, let's keep it simple for now. And we can experiment with that later. Okay. So that's very simple actually compared to what we did for the spider enemy, but I think that works well. Is there anything else I should consider? Let's see. Do I want... Actually, yeah, so let's have it be more specific actually. Let's copy that for now. Let's keep that. But let's go back and add in our old... Actually, we can do it like that. Fast forward into the future. Okay, and let's change this back to how it was. So we'll still have the aggressive and passive states, but then within these, we can be more detailed. So within the passive state, we will, let's get rid of flee as well. Don't need that anymore. We'll return wonder. Well, that's all we'll do, wonder. So in here, we'll return behavior state dot wonder. So that just means the enemy will kind of just be walking around, not focusing on too much, just hovering around idly in a way. However, inside here, we'll get more specific. So we'll say the most unlikely thing for us to do is stomp. Or actually, we can be more specific even here. So let's get an attack distance. Probably float attack distance. And let's first check if we're within that attack distance. If we are, then we will just attack. So let's have a look. I'm sure that should probably be changed. That should probably be an else if. I wonder if that was causing any other problems. We'll have to check back on that one later. Should I write a note for myself? Nah, it's fine. Okay, yes. So inside here, let's actually ignore this for now. And let's check if our distance to target is less than our attack distance. In that case, we will attack. We'll return behavior state attack. That doesn't actually mean we'll attack straight away. It just means the enemy will know they're going to attack, they'll stop moving, and they'll just wait until their attack cooldown is finished. So that should look, I feel like that will feel quite well. Distance to target is less than attack distance. Else, then we can either chase or we can stomp. So let's decide between those based on a random variable. If rand is greater than 0.8, I'm going to say 0.8, we will stomp. And we'll stomp in the direction of the player. So direction to target. Okay. Do we need to do anything else in here? When we call our stomp, are we calling anything else? Let's have a look. Where do we call that? Here. No, we do not. Okay, perfect. So that's all we need for that. Oh, we need to reset our time to change state. Okay. Time to change state is equal to stomp time plus our state return time. Okay. Well, that is all good. Then else, if not, we will just chase. So we'll just return behavior state dot chase, and that's all fine. Awesome. What code paths don't return a value? That returns one. Oh, here. So we need to also, at the end of this, we need to return behavior state dot stomp. Okay, that should be the fundamentals of our AI decision making down. Now we just have to implement some of these behaviors. Hey, not locks, or not low cocks. There we go. How are you doing? Okay, so the true state is down. Now we have to implement what we're going to do in each of these states. So for that, we can just use a switch statement. That should work fine. So let's copy the structure of this and so get rid of flee. The chase, we can actually keep exactly the same pretty much. I don't think anything, we can actually remove the side panel now. I don't think we need to change anything about this. Hey, mad lad, that was quick. Wow. Got some efficient studying going on there. Okay, wonder. Oh, we need to set a wonder position. Let's create that variable. Yeah, that was really fast. Hey, Mikko. Okay, 10 space 10. Okay. Private vector 2, and this is going to be our wonder position. So every now and again, we're just going to choose a random place for our enemies to start walking to, basically. So that would just make them feel a bit more human than just mindlessly charging. Not Lowcock's asked, how many hours do you work on this project now? Are you talking about in just this sitting for this stream, or today? What are you kind of talking about? I would say this stream, I'm probably only going to work on it for another hour maybe. However, I might do another stream tonight, and so that could be anywhere from an hour to half an hour to even up to like 2 hours and a half or something. Depends how I'm feeling, really. Okay, so we still need to think about this attack behavior, definitely. Okay, so we need to come back and have a closer look at this, definitely. So let's create a few notes. So let's just say to do, and then attack, sword, swing, sing. And then also in the dash, actually that's very quick. Let's just get to do that working very quickly. Is stomping. And let's comment out this for now. Okay, so a few of you are asking, how do I get the ground pound animation to work? So let's talk about that quickly. That is quite interesting. Okay, let's first though just get rid of the one error that's left. Oh, and switch that to stomp. Okay, so how did I get the ground pound animation to work? You think it looks cool? That's great. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turns out. However, it's actually much simpler than you might think. So let's take a closer look at that. Okay, so the way the ground pound is working is once we call our ground pound to start, we're picking a direction to move in and a point that we're going to land on. After that, we're then kind of lerping, if you guys have used that function before. So we're kind of smoothing our position from the point we started at to the point which we ended at. Noob the Builder says, the programming phase is a phase which you pretend like you know what you're doing. Honestly, pretty much, yes. A lot of this is kind of trial and error. So I'll show you how I got to this in the end. So let's head back into Unity and let's have a look at the ground pound in Engine. Once I get rid of whatever bug this is. Oh, that shouldn't be a string. So when we ground pound, you'll see the player goes up and then they land where our cursor is. So we're kind of taking control away from the rigid body here, and we begin lerping the player's movement, interpolating it. So that you can think of that as like fading from one position to another. And with the animation then, we take this kind of value and then we apply some maths to it. So I'm using a sine curve here. And so what we're doing is we're guessing the scale of the player's sprites, and then we're adding on a value depending on where they are in their jump progress. So the progress is going between 0 and 1. And so let's open a graphing calculator here. Let's go into Desmos. And so what I was thinking, my mindset here is how can we get a graph that kind of looks like this? We kind of want something that goes up, like a jump arc in a way, that goes up and then comes back down. Because we want the player's sprite to get larger in the middle and then kind of fall back down as if they're actually jumping. I'm 2 in the jam, but your game is 50 times better than mine. I must go to school. It's like, you just gotta, the most important thing in the game jam is you actually make something. The quality, making a fun, good game is important. But overall, if you manage to release something at all in a week, that's incredible. You should be proud of yourself. After you should add some nice post-processing to make the game look cool. Yes, I'm very excited to do that. So for another game of mine called Synthetic, I spent a long time making the post-processing look amazing, and it made the game look so cool. I'll show you one of the GIFs after that I'm really proud of. Use the tangent function for explosive results. Indeed. The tangent is interesting. However, so this is kind of the shape of a graph I was going for. However, our stomp progress is kind of going between 0 and 1 as we move through the abilities animation. And so what I did is I took the sine curve, which most of you can be familiar with, and you'll kind of see it's a similar shape, you know? However, this isn't in the right range. We need it to go between 0 and 1. So what I did is I divided this value by pi. So if you're not familiar with, or times it by pi rather, if you're not familiar with something called radians in maths, this may be a bit hard to understand right now, but if you go watch some videos on that, you'll kind of see where I'm going. And then we create this nice curve here, which is how we're changing our character's size. I hope that gives you a good rough explanation of how this works. Oh, and we're also smoothing our lerp as well. So we're not just linearly moving from one position to the other. I'm applying some smoothing with this function. These are all built in Unity things. You're welcome to try them out yourself. Okay, let's get back to the AI. I had to learn about this last semester, so this is the perfect time for you to be explaining this. Same here, to be honest. I've only learned about how to use like the trigonometry functions Unity very recently, which is kind of weird. For a long time, I kind of just relied on tutorials to just tell me what to put in, and I just copied that. Though I'm slowly starting to understand the maths behind the magic, so that's very cool. I know someone in one of the earlier streams was mentioning animation curves, and so I may switch out this maths for that later on. Okay, back to AI we go. You're doing a state machine AI? Kind of, yeah. So it's very loose, but in theory, yeah, we are. So each of these states is kind of acting as a mini state inside a larger state machine. However, this is on a very small scale as such. I know there's loads of good YouTube tutorials out there for making more complex state machines in Unity. However, using a simple enum and switch statement is a great place to start. Okay, so let's see how our AI is working so far. So let's make this. So if you haven't seen the previous streams, I'm making a game where you can take control of the enemies. And so far we've made the enemy work when you're controlling them. However, now we have to add in the enemy AI layer so that they can also use that. Did you see the new Aseprite package? No, I haven't actually used Aseprite in quite a while. I don't know if I'll use it for this jam, I doubt. But if there's a new update to it, that'd be really cool. Aseprite is what I used to do all the art for my commercial game Cosmos. Okay, let's copy some of these values in. So what do we do for the other enemy? 1.5, 0.3, 0.5, 85, 0.53. Okay, let's copy something similar to that. So state change time, let's set that to 2. End time can be something small, quite 0.25, or randomness, sorry. So let's make that 0.5, that 0.25. Aggressive range, I'm going to set in a medium kind of value, so 6. And attack distance will be quite small, let's say 2. Okay, how does this enemy control? So it's rushing our player, it backs a lot off, and then it's kind of glitching there. Oh, I accidentally stomped it. So we're charging, they back off, bit glitchy. Oh, they did a stomp. Did another stomp. Okay. This is kind of working in a weird, twisted way. Let me turn off the enemy spawner for now, and also all these, let's disable all of them. Oh, let's disable them. There we go. Okay, so it's doing the stomp. Let's get the gizmo. Oh, the gizmo is working, yeah. Okay, so the Wonder AI needs to be slightly different. Or it needs to be further, rather. So let's increase that. Where would that go? Wonder, oh, here we go. Right in front of me. That's for the wrong one. Have we not actually added a wonder distance? Oh, of course, we're not actually setting it yet. Hey, Masterlink, how you doing? You're gonna come later after homework. Awesome. Okay, hopefully I can catch you either at the end of this stream or on the next one then. See ya. It seems everyone's struggling to fit in the jam and the homework at the same time. Okay. So what do we need to set still? Plus wonder position. Is that what we're doing for the other enemy as well? We need our spider enemy. Okay, so that works fine for the spider enemy. However, for the sword enemy, we're going to need to change a few things, it looks like. Where are we setting our wonder position? I bet that, oh, it's that we're not setting our wonder position. That's probably the issue here, isn't it? Hey, Arcadendo, how you doing? So much beautiful code. Indeed, indeed. Oh, by the way, I saw you are using Notion to track your progress. Yeah. Do you use it solely for game dev or for other areas of Life Store? I use Notion for literally everything. Arcadendo will tell you how much I overuse it. I love Notion. Yeah, I think Notion's great. I use it for a lot of school stuff and life stuff as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's actually add in some of the AI stuff. So we've got the decisions working. Now we need to implement those decisions. Okay, so where in this other enemy are we setting our wonder position? Inside here. Okay, so let's copy this line of code. And actually, let's just copy the entire thing. I want to keep this as simple as possible. So reusing stuff from other enemies is going to be great. So where are we setting that? We're saying that in the choose state. Okay, let's come down here. And so in wonder, let's just add in this line of code. Wonder distance. Let's add in a wonder distance. Public float. Wonder distance. Okay, Perfect. So the Wonder should be working far better now. I have an entire database for school tasks where every row in the database is a subject and its relation to all the tasks of that subject. It's not intuitive, but I'm just using it for myself so I can work around that. Yeah, that's really good. The database and the Notion are super powerful. And so let me show you some of the things I have in them. So I also track loads of projects I'm working on as well. And I kind of keep a library of all the different sources that I find interesting. So recently I've been watching this lecture series by a guy called Brandon Sanderson. He's an author and I've actually started reading his books and he's super interesting. And so I've kind of been applying some of the things he's taken from his journey as a writer and also improving his storytelling. And I'm going to try and apply that to my own games because I think taking inspiration from new mediums, not just video games, is a great way to help your creative process. So here's an example of how I use Notion and some tips about being a creator. Okay, let's go back to the Brackeys jam and put that on my second monitor. Arcadena says, good luck with the enemy AI. I'll be watching on and off while doing homework. Awesome. Enjoy your homework. That is something I need to start doing soon. Ooh. Okay. Let's try and get this enemy AI finished before I have to go. Yeah, homework seems to be a repeating motif here in this chat. Okay, Wonder. So we have a Wonder position set, Wonder distance. Where did I spell it wrong up here? Ah, I forgot the D. Okay, Wonder distance working. Inspired enemy. What else do we need to set? So attack, all good. We've already done the stomp behavior. Yep, all working. And the chase behavior, we don't do anything in that one. Perfect. Okay, let's try this out on engine. How's this feeling? Look, Shabak, hey, finally I'm back. I'm using my main account and I'm doing homework while listening because why not? Well, I can't complain. Well, get that watch time up, baby. I'm actually getting very close to having this channel monetized, so that's kind of exciting. It's one of the side benefits of doing 6 streams in a row. Your watch time rises dramatically. Where is this error coming from? What? Oh, it's probably yeah, in draw gizmo. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. This all looks good. Let's just ignore that for now. I have a couple GIFs actually that I need to post on Discord and on Twitter now. Because I've been working, I worked on this game on and off before I started streaming. And so I got some really cool GIFs that I want to share. Okay, so the enemy is chasing, it's wandering, it's chasing, wandering. Okay, we need to increase the wander distance though. That's not a nice sound. Ooh. Wander distance. Okay, let's make that 5. Enemy chasing, 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 wandering away. Chasing, 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 wandering away. Still wandering. Oh, and it stomps. Wow. Okay, so we'll need some sort of, what's it called? Telegraphing. So what telegraphing is, it's using animations or some sort of feedback to the player, showing them then enemies about to attack before they attack. So that allows us to kind of be a bit proactive and make sure we dodge the enemy. Okay, this is good. Boing, boing. I love that animation. It's very satisfying. We'll need to do some game balance on that though. So maybe I'll do that off stream tonight since that's a bit boring to watch. Okay, I think the way that we kind of just switched direction is a bit weird. So maybe let's add another behavior and we can just call that idle. So we just stand still. I think that will be good. Let's create a new state and we'll just call this idle. And so this will we'll add this in to a wander state. Where's that? Where do we choose that? Okay, in here. So then let's just add a random chance for us to either stand still or to wander. Well, actually, even better, let's say if our current behavior state, so the one before we're changing it, if state is equal to behavior state dot chase, or yeah, if it's equal to behavior state dot chase, then yeah, that's perfect. Then we will set, let's move that into here. Then we will go to an idle rather than a wander behavior. I think that will look good. Look says, I'm rejoining the Discord server because I'm currently reworking on game dev. That's cool. The Discord server is growing rapidly right now. It's amazing. So we're kind of fostering this nice community there, which is really cool. I mentioned this in another stream as well. I'm hoping that we can do some sort of community event at some point. So the obvious one would be a game jam, like I was talking about earlier, but we can do some other stuff as well. Like we can host tournaments maybe for different games. We could do some speedrunning stuff, anything that I think a lot of people would be interested in and that could kind of create some cool events, good vibes, yeah. I think chess has got really popular recently, so a chess tournament could be quite interesting. I think that's something that synergizes quite well with like the game designer kind of community. Yeah. Okay, so if state is equal to chase, so let's say if previous state, just so we can clarify that, 'cause that's a bit confusing if I'm rereading this in a couple of days. If previous state was chase, then instead of doing that, we will return idle. And so that would just mean stand completely still. Nothing crazy about that. So then let's just add another case, behavior state dot idle, and we will just not move at all. Nice and simple. Okay, what's the issue here of prof got a break? Yes. Always got to remember the break when you're working with switch statements. Okay, and we need to add, no, attack distances too. That should be working fine. Speaking of having time, I gotta go to a flute lesson, says Mad Lad. Good luck with the game and have a nice day. And remember to have fun. If you don't have fun, there will be consequences. Having fun, of course, is the most important thing about game jams. Indeed. That's kind of one of the reasons I'm streaming as well, so I can just enjoy the process a bit more and not be completely stressed out about how my game's coming along. Talking about flute lessons, I actually used to play the flute, so that's very cool. Okay. Let's see how this works. Okay, that was probably the enemy entering their attack state, right? Okay, that seems to be working. So they're charging, they're charging, they're charging, they're charging. They attack. In theory. They're wandering. They stopped randomly. Okay, awesome. Okay, this isn't good. I think we can get rid of the state return time. Don't think that's necessary. Oh, chat's so wholesome today. It's awesome. Okay, let's get rid of this variable. I don't think that's necessary. And we're referencing it down here. We can just get rid of that. Time to state change. Where are we? I just realized it's actually not doing anything. Huh. Okay, it's fine. Let's delete that anyway. I might switch to music in a second, actually. once this song finishes. Okay. Okay, I think we have to reduce the move speed on this enemy. Because I want them to feel quite slow. Yeah, that feels good. I don't know why we're so much faster than them. Okay, they're kind of lumbering towards you, they're stopping, charging again. Okay, I do want them to keep attacking. Yeah, so I think we have to get the attack animation working. And for that, I think we need to kind of decide on an art style here, because showing a melee attack is quite difficult without having like the swipe animation working. So maybe if we get some, this actually might be something I come back to myself in tonight off stream, I'm thinking, because I will have to think about how we're going to show the actual attack swing, and that will mean deciding on an art style. So that is going to be a very important decision. Let's come back to our checklist in Notion. So we have our wander ability working, we have the chase. What we haven't done is we have the melee attack, but we haven't got the AI attack working just yet. So I'm thinking we move on to the next enemy. That's what I think right now. Okay, let's do that then. Let's come back to this sword swinging, jumping, ground pounding enemy later on. Okay, so what's up next? Mitko says, if you have time, do you want to see my minigame? Not for the jam, but made by me. Oh yeah, of course. If you're part of the Discord server, I highly recommend posting it in the show off channel, because then I think you can probably get some other people to play it as well and give feedback. I know a couple streams ago I did a I play your game session, and so at some point I will do that. Probably not in one of the streams this week, because I really want to focus on the game jam or my game right now. Though afterwards, maybe in a few weeks, I'll definitely do another I play your game session. That can be really fun. So leave your link in the Discord would be great. Awesome. Okay. Let's decide on what to do now. Okay, so yesterday I was also talking about these two other enemies. The Hog, which would have a grappling hook and a shotgun, and also the Leviathan, which would be like an enemy spawner. I think I'm going to cut both of these, because I really want to make sure I have time, 100% that I have time to polish. And if I push, if I try and push to get another two enemies done, that might be over-scoping a bit, I'm thinking. Dennis11 says, I'll join a Discord group as well. That is great. Like I was saying before, we're kind of slowly building this really awesome community over on Discord, so amazing stuff. Okay, so what my plans are for the next enemy is something that's going to act as an almost counter to the guy we were just working on now. And so this enemy would be very fast moving, and I'm also thinking it might have some sort of like homing ability. I think that would be quite interesting. So let's get started on that. Let's make this into a prefab, this sword enemy for now. And I'm definitely gonna have to start working on art soon. Art is gonna be very important. One final check, just to make sure everything is functioning well. This all looks good to me. I think once we get the sword swing and some more animations, everything will look far better. Okay, awesome. Let's get on to the next enemy. So with this, we are going to call this. Hi Claire. We are going to, what should we call this? Let's bring up some of the names. I could actually steal the name Leviathan. I kind of like that name over Centipede. I don't know. Or we probably want something more descriptive. Sword. Oh yeah, let's call this homing, because I think having a homing attack will be really good. Homing enemy. Okay, let's just copy actually one of these so we can get a good structure for our enemy immediately. Let's delete that. Enable this enemy. This one kind of tall and skinny. Okay, let's remove the script and let's get started. Where are you from, Dawn? Is English your native language? Yes, I'm from the UK, so that pretty much answers your question. So hence the accent, hence hopefully my ability to speak English decently well. I don't know, how obvious is it that I have a British accent over the microphone? I don't know. That's a question to ponder over. Okay, let's create a new script. So we're going to codename this homing enemy. We can decide on better names later on. That's not important just yet. The main thing is going to be getting the gameplay feeling good. Right now, I think the AI and the abilities are there. The game balance is going to be very important though. So we can get some sort of playable version working as soon as possible. Lookock says, I don't know, you speak well, not like not like me. So I was on it. Yeah, that's all cool. It's a shame in the UK that they don't teach languages as well as other countries. Okay, so let's inherit from enemy and let's start by creating all the normal stuff that we would. So as before, we're going to create all these standard update or overrides. Cool. Okay. How do I want this enemy to work? Well, I want some sort of homing ability. So we can copy a lot of the shoot code from our spider style enemy. So attack, attack damage, attack rate, time to attack, bullet. But we won't need, so we'll create some sort of other script here for our homing weapon. Okay. I'm trying to think. So we want something that counteracts the enemy. We want all the enemies to serve a different role and have them strengths and weaknesses against each other. So we are going to need to make sure we design them considering each other as well as the player as well. Okay, let's switch up the music a bit. I am thinking some lo-fi girl stuff. I know I had a playlist yesterday that I thought was very cool, so let me try and find that. Okay. This sounds good. Let's wait for the advert to be over. Okay, so yeah, so I want every enemy to serve a kind of unique role and also synergize well with each other. So we, like before, get loads of interesting micro decisions. That's our goal here. Okay, let me know how the audio is on that. Okay, let's design this then. I don't know how far I'll get into this before ending the stream, but we'll see. So let's start by getting a basic shoot working. What is going to be the secondary ability of this enemy actually? That's not something I'd entirely sort of. So yeah, I was thinking some sort of like dash almost ability. Is that worth it? I think that should work quite well. And then how are you going to counter this enemy? That's another question. So when you play as it, you get to shoot homing things. Those will be very good against the spiders. The pronoun picker doesn't work on Discord. Oh, okay. I'll have a look at that later then, see if I can get that working. Oh, hey Stevie. What's the best thing about Switzerland? That's a very random and very interesting question. Okay. I think so. Okay, so how is this homing enemy going to work? This enemy is going to shoot homing bullets. So that's the first thing. Let's start outlining some of this. So its attack is going to be homing bullets, and its a dash is going to, or let's call it its ability, is going to be some sort of like dash slash teleport. That's what I'm kind of going for here. Dash slash teleport. Okay, that's dynamic cool. Can you show us progress? Okay, let's get everyone up to speed then about what I've kind of got done so far. I think that would be interesting for me to see as well. How does the game play like it is right now? One thing, let's actually quickly add in some better enemy spawning so we can show this off slightly better. So let's make this into an array. And then in here, let's just instantiate enemies of that random.range 0 to enemies.length -1. Okay, let's add in the other enemy we have working so far, and let's see how this plays. Let's drag in both of them. So we have our spider enemy, we have our sword wielding enemy. Let's disable this work in progress one for now. And let's see how this goes. So the game I'm working on now is a top-down shooter where you can take control of the enemies. So if I take over this enemy over here, he's been damaged, and in theory there'll be some sort of stun animation, and then I can press space and possess him if something went wrong there. This is the moment when I find out my game's entirely broken. And you can see we kind of possess the enemy. So my idea is that once you get them down to 1 HP, then you can kind of like take control of them in a way. So it's almost like a stun ability. So right now, these are all the spider enemies. I don't know. Of course, they are probably not pathfinding in. Let's increase aggressive range. Oh, none of these are set up right at all. Let's copy those and let's paste them into here. Twice. State change time, aggressive within range. Okay, that should all work. Okay, awesome, that's working better now. Okay, so we can shoot enemies, take control of them. That's all working good. Once again, I don't know where all the Sword guys are gone. Let's get rid of that. Okay, the sword guys are very slow. That's probably one of the main reasons. Oh, there we go. There comes one. So these guys have a ground pound ability, which is very cool. Though I will definitely need to increase our range a bit, I'm thinking. So the balance definitely isn't here right now, but I'm liking the vibe of the game. There we go, and take control of him. And ground pound, ground pound. Okay, that's cool. So the programming and the AI is here, the balance not so much. So that's going to be our focus for tomorrow. And then hopefully today we can finish off all the other enemy I want to get done. Okay, I'm liking this. I think once we get game balance done and once we get in some game feel, it should feel way better. Okay, issue is I don't know. Okay, let's try and switch back to one of these guys. If I can, there we go. Yeah, so hopefully once we get balance and loads of feedback stuff in and things like that, everything should kind of fit together nicely. So I guess we're kind of creating this nice triangle of enemies. So we have our spider enemies, which is kind of all about speed. So they have a dash, they're hopefully going to move really fast. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum in a way, we're going to have the sword. Let's call these guys knights actually. I think that could be a good name for them. The knight enemies, and they are all going to be about health and damage. Let's call it hit points and damage. So these are going to be our tanks. These are going to be super hard to kill. However, they're also going to be quite slow and lumbering. So if you're kind of staying out of the way of them, you're going to be fine. And then on the other hand, we are going to have, so actually these arrows should be the other way around, but hey, that's fine. We are going to have some sort of, I'm going to codename it for now, just snake, or like the homing enemy we were talking about before. And these are going to be all about range, attack range. So they can attack from distance, and they also have some sort of like homing bullet, so that can keep up with the spiders. So that should create this awesome rock paper scissors type behavior where you constantly you're constantly being forced to swap enemies, and that should, as always, like I keep saying over and over again, lead back to these interesting micro decisions during combat. Homing. Okay, I like this diagram because it kind of clears up my goals with the enemy design. Locock says, wow, that looks so cool. I'm glad you think so. That is, I'm really happy with how it's coming along. And there's just a couple details I think we need to get right to make everything kind of fit together and be great. Okay, let's get the basic structure for this new enemy working, and then I'm going to end the stream. So we need to get an attack, homing bullets, and we also need to get a dash. Okay, so let's start by creating this attack. So on this mouse button down, we are going to check if we can attack. Should we have some sort of reload ability? No, actually no, because there's another thing I want to implement, but I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, I think. I have another idea, but I need to think about that one a little bit more. Okay, let's take the basic structure of the firing behavior and let's copy that over. homing enemy. Let's create this attack script. We're gonna spawn our bullet. Not gonna worry about speed yet. And let's actually comment all of this out for now, since we're gonna have to create a new class. So how about, let's start by doing that actually. Let's create the homing bullet. Locock says, maybe you can add a different vision effect depending on the energy we control, like darker, more FOV, or even different ambience, things like music. Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. I could also change up the color palette, maybe, things like that. Yeah, I think that works great. The main issue is that I would probably add a lot of content, since I have to do that for all 3 enemies. So I may be able to do that in a small way, but that'll definitely come down to scope again, as always, and how important that is for the overall game. So maybe if I have time at the end, that would be a really cool idea. Okay, let's create a homing disc. I want these to be like almost spinning discs in the air. I think that would look quite cool. So let's add in a sprite. Let's keep these squares as well. Now, yeah, so let's get this homing disc ready. Then let's end the stream and come back fresh in later on tonight, for me at least. So in a couple hours. Square. Perfect. Okay, this should be really quick and quite fun to get working immediately. So homing disc. So let's get these working. So let's copy a lot of what we have in the bullet script. So we're going to need a rigid body 2D. Let's close RB and let's get that in our wake method. Actually, no, let's make that public so we don't have to call that every single time we instantiate a new bullet, because that could be a bit. I mean, it's a game jam. We don't have to worry about performance, but maybe it'll help some way. I don't know. It's not the worst habit to be in. So public, then in update, we are going to, we need a transform for our target. That's important here. So in the update, we're going to move towards target, but we're going to be like slightly delayed as well. So add some sort of like rotation delay, I'm thinking. So if we have the saw blade kind of turning in a way to follow the player, how could we do this? Because I don't actually want it to turn. I just want the physics to kind of feel like that. If we have it slowly moving towards a player, and maybe we can lure where they are. When you're gonna make the assets, you're talking about like art assets, I assume. If you're talking about art, that will probably be tomorrow actually. It'll either be tomorrow or it will be on Saturday, which actually leaving it until Saturday will not be a good idea. So yeah, I think getting all the art done tomorrow is smart. Enemies done today, gameplay done tomorrow, art done tomorrow, and then polishing on Saturday. And of course sound effects as well. Sound effects, cannot forget that. Okay, so we're going to need these moving towards our target. So on update, we will get the direction towards our target. So if we make a new vector 2, course direction, and then get our target dot position minus that by our own. Okay, nice. Is it going to be pixel art? So kind of. What I'm thinking is we have a kind of minimalist aesthetic. So if I'm using like shapes and stuff for the enemies, however, then in post-processing we go ahead and like pixelate the entire screen in a way. So I'm thinking of a style similar to one I did for a previous game of mine called Synthetic. Let me show you that. I really like how the aesthetic for this game came out, so I'm thinking about trying to replicate that. So you can kind of see how overall the shapes are all very simple. However, afterwards we've gone through and like added loads of post-processing and pixelated the game, and that's given this really cool retro kind of look, which I like a lot. Okay, let's get this homing thing done and dusted. Target dot position match, transform dot position. Then we're just going to set rigid body dot velocity equal to direction dot normalize times, and we're going to need a move speed here. Move speed. Okay, and what we're going to do to make this like smooth in a way is we're going to let's lerp our velocity. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to also add is public float. What's a good name for this? Let's call it velocity smoothing. Smoothing. And that is going to be in the range of 0 to 1. This is a really nice attribute to add to many of your variables, which forces, or it allows in Unity to have a nice slider, which is just a nice, helpful way to make everything a bit easier to read in the inspector. And so what we're going to do here is, okay, new vector 2, that's going to be our velocity, and it's going to be equal to vector2.lerp between our current velocity and our new one. And so this will add in this element of smoothing that I think should give the homing blades the kind of behavior we want them to. Velocity smoothing, why can't I add it in there? That's weird. I'm gonna find out there's a major error in my game now. Where have I messed up in the code? There is no argument going that corresponds to the required parameter t, but this is our parameter t. What is the issue? Vector 2, vector 2. What's up with this? Vector2.lerp. Oh my god, thank you. Okay, I did not see that at all. Typos be like. Thank you very much for that suggestion, Erwan. Okay, let's add the homing disk in. Okay, hopefully this works first time. As always, we know it won't, but that's fine. Okay, rigid body 2D, let's add that. We're gonna make this kinematic. So what that means is it won't be affected by any other external forces. So this means no gravity, and also no like, it won't be moved around by other objects in the scene. Okay, let's make that in template, never sleep, continuous, all the normal stuff similar to what we did in all the platform tutorials, as I assume most of you have come from those. Okay, let's set our target to the player for now, since we're going to worry about which enemy we're targeting later, I think. And let's set our velocity smoothing quite small, so that we're not really heading directly towards the player. Let's speed up as well, let's make that 4. Okay. Let's disable make the client on trigger. Okay, so the white square is our homing disk. And that's working great. Okay, awesome. We need to slow it down a ton, definitely. Let's also smooth it a ton. Okay, so you can kind of see how it's kind of lagging behind our player in the way. I like that. I think that works fine. I I'm gonna guess once I get to balancing, I'll probably speed up the entire game quite a bit. And then I think that should make this feel better. But for now, that's good. Okay, awesome. One more thing. Let's make the homing blade spin, because I think that'd be kind of cool. So if we grab Sprite renderer, and actually let's just make that public as well. Nice and easy. And then in the update, sprite rand dot transform dot rotate, and let's just add in quite a small variable. How about float rotate speed, and then times that by time dot delta time. Oh, of course, let's specify. So we want this on the Z axis, which is our rotation in 2D space. So that will be vector2.forward. Okay. That all looks good. Let's set it to something relatively smooth. So this is going to be a per second basis. So should we say every second it turns maybe 180 degrees? That will probably be a good speed. We need to set our sprite. Hey, there we go. Okay, I think that looks really cool. If we get a bunch of them in, and I think what I might also add is so that they avoid each other as well. So they kind of add this like spreading behavior. I think that would look good. But that looks nice. Okay, I like that a lot. So what we'll have is this new enemy shooting out all of these in quick succession, and that should look really good. Awesome. Okay, we still need to add collisions. So we still need to add some sort of collision detection system. And we also need to add some sort of spreading out, spread away from other homing bullets. Aside from that though, I think that's a good place to end the stream. Let's save that. Let's close VS Code. So we can tick off then homing bullets, which I'm just going to add to my checklist as well, but ticking stuff off is satisfying, so we'll do that. Home bullets, which kind of goes underneath our weapons category. And so we're getting very close to finishing all the enemies for our game, and that is awesome. So fingers crossed we can get this all done today. And so I will probably stream in a few hours, maybe, if I feel like it. If not, I'll post some GIFs or something over on the Discord server about what I'm working on. And yeah, I think that's everything for today. Hopefully I can catch most of you in the next stream. I'll see you guys all around.